This is my audience for my speech. Okay, so for my persuasive presentation, I'm going to be talking about capital punishment. And capital punishment is a lawful infliction of death as a punishment. Capital punishment is useless as a deterrent, morally indefensible, discriminatory in practice, and prone to errors that may lead to the execution of wrongfully convicted people. Capital punishment should be abolished in the United States. Since the 1977 resumption of capital punishment in the United States, nearly 1,100 convicted prisoners have been put to death in the 38 U.S. states where the practice remains legal. Evidence has shown that the death penalty consumes an enormous amount of money and resources and fails to deter criminals. FBI Uniform Crime Report data shows no statistical difference in crime rates based on the existence of death penalty in states. The death penalty has been abolished by the majority of civilized nations. The existence of the death penalty and the recent efforts to broaden it in some parts of the United States have drawn a flurry of international criticism, which damages American moral credibility on global human rights issues. By accepting and attempting to expand capital punishment in the United States is making America rhetoric ring hollows to our alleys. Capital punishment is discriminatory in practice. In the 1972 case of Furman v. Georgia, the Supreme Court ruled that existing state capital punishment laws were applies in an erratic and often random manner. More than 40% of the inmates on death row are African American. Nearly all of the inmates on death row belong to a minority group. Statistics show, for example, that people who kill white people are far more likely to receive a death sentence than those victims who are not white, and that black people who kill white people have the greatest chance of receiving a death row sentence. The more money you make, the less chance you have of going on death row. Predictive factors for which convicted murderers are likely to receive a death penalty have less to do with the heinous of the crime committed than with the race, sex, and economic class of the prisoner and victim. Geographically and politics also play a major role, as some countries and individual prosecutors seek the death penalty with much greater frequency than others. Systematic errors in investigative, forensic, and trial procedures can lead to false conviction and subsequent execution. The Innocence Project is a legal clinic founded in 1992 by Barry Scheck and Peter Newfield. The Innocence Project assists prisoners who could be proved innocent through post-conviction DNA testing. As of May 2007, 201 people had been exonerated by the Innocence Program, including 15 who served on death row. The 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects defendants from cruel and unusual punishment. The lethal injection is favored by most states. The lethal injection is cruel in that it inflicts unnecessary pain. If the needle is placed in the muscle instead of the vein, or if the needle becomes clogged, extreme pain can result. Capital punishment is a prescription for vengeance and not justice. The counter-argument is the ultimate crime deserves the ultimate punishment. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. All of these counter-arguments are serving revenge, not justice. Capital punishment began in order for the victims and their families to seek justice, which is not the case today. The death penalty has become a way for the victims' families to seek revenge upon the person who committed the crime rather than getting justice for the crime. Capital punishment should be abolished from the United States. Capital punishment is useless as a deterrent, morally indefensible, discriminatory in practice, and prone to errors that may have led to the execution of wrongfully convicted people. Capital punishment is a way for people to get revenge and not a way for people to get justice. Thank you.